All right, hello everybody, and welcome in to another episode, one that hasn't been done in quite some time, of The Lion, the Dog, and the Podcast, maybe to be renamed at some point. We hope you have been enjoying the wonderful year that we are calling Quarantine 2020, soon to be a movie in multiple countries, we're sure. Joining me, as always, on this wonderful adventure that we call life is my best friend and partner in crime, Stripes. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm existing. I'm existing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like isn't that the benchmark though, where like that's really the 2020 benchmark. Are you existing? And if the answer is yes, then great. And if the answer is no, then I mean also great, right? Like that's basically where we're at in today's world.
Pretty much.
I assume.
Pretty much. And I think, this is going to be special because I think this is going to be the first episode of The Lion, the Dog, and the Podcast. It's going to make its way to YouTube. So, that's going to be exciting and something new for the very unusual channel. So, yeah.
Yeah, hello YouTube. You'd still be, I think, your first experience with me, and hopefully not your last. Although maybe I don't know how much Stripes talks about me on this channel. I assume there's a whole secret channel of cursing me.
They've had experiences with you before in the past. You've been featured. I'm almost positive you've been featured in one of my videos before, as well as, you've used my YouTube channel to host some of the LOBO live streams. So they've definitely seen your face. Even if they don't know the association, they still there's a subconscious thing going on there.
Oh, I feel like I just have been genuinely in everybody's subconscious at all times. I think that's just that's my bread and butter. I just exist in everyone's subconscious. That's how I survive.
We don't need you joining the collective consciousness. You're not the sitting on the toilet lady. You're not the bed intruder song. Like, you do not need to make it into everybody's collective consciousness.
Well, I think that is probably a fair statement. I think that if the world had me as their conscience collectively, we would be in some very grave danger. I would have to agree that probably for the best that I am not the little voice inside everybody's head. Because could you imagine? Oof, yikes. Big yikes. I don't think there's a pandemic in the world that could stop that from being yikes.
We've been friends long enough where I'm just like, no, that's a terrible, terrible idea. Like we've said multiple times, if anybody could hear our private conversations.
Yeah, one day I think we will just release a tell-all book recorded album or something of all of our private conversations, and people will be like, oh my God, why didn't we know about this sooner? These guys are terrible human beings. And then we'll be like, no, it's okay. It's okay. We're it's okay because we're friends. It's fine. It's safe. You're fine. So I assume that's how that's going to go.
We would get canceled 1,000 times over.
I don't think there would be they would have to invent a new word for the level of cancellation we would be seeing. So, of course, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to us on SoundCloud or listening to us wherever I decide to post this podcast, we want to thank you because we know you have plenty of options in a post-quarantine world and a pre-quarantine world and a quarantine world of who you choose to listen to. And of course, you are choosing to spend your time with us for some reason we don't understand, but we do want to thank you because you guys are what makes this program fantastic. You're going to notice, however, that this time we are not live on Twitch. This is being recorded from the wonderful studio at Stripes' house and my house because that's just how we roll, because pandemic. But we've got a lot to cover today, and you're going to notice that today's podcast is going to be slightly different. It's going to be a little more loose, a little more unstructured, and we're just going to kind of see how it goes. So buckle up, and I think we'll just see how it goes, Stripes.
Yes, I totally agree because, sometimes just launching off the top of your head and just seeing where stuff goes ends up with a much better product than when you try to sit down and script everything. And even with my YouTube videos, I will sit down and have bullet points, but I will never ever sit down and just write out a script because it comes off as disingenuous to me. So I'm really excited to see how this free form episode is going to go. And who knows, we may stumble upon a topic that ends up being the focus of the podcast. We'll see what happens.
So, speaking of stumbling onto things, Stripes, how are you, buddy? I don't know if our audience has been caught up with just exactly what has been going on in your life. So why don't you catch everybody up? And stumbling is the correct word.
Well, I did make an update video, which was the last recorded video on this channel. At least up until this, I did a couple of live streams, but no, in the update video, I let people know that I had screwed up my knee. But if you didn't watch the update video, yeah, no, I screwed up my knee. And
in spectacular fashion, by the way.
Well, and it's so stupid. It's so stupid because the day that I got injured, I ended up injuring both legs. One was the calf of my right leg. The other was the knee of my left leg. I thought that the calf injury, the thigh injury, because that's the upper portion of the leg. I thought that was going to be the more serious injury because a 1,000-pound pallet had fallen on my leg, and I was expecting to wake up with this giant bruise, and it's going to be all terrible. But no, it was the knee injury, which I thought was going to be super minor, has ended up turning into a 2-month-long ordeal because it took like 3 weeks to finally get seen by the doctor. Finally get seen by a doctor. He schedules an MRI. Finally get the MRI done. Have to wait to go back to the doctor. Go back to the doctor, find out, oh yeah, it's just a really, really bad bone bruise. And come to find out that bone bruises take anywhere from 2 to 4 months to heal. So I am now in month 2 post-injury. So hopefully it is either fully healed or getting close to being fully healed, because it has been absolutely miserable just laying around my house doing nothing. Like, granted, I put out like one YouTube video and I've been playing video games, but I'm just like, I'm tired of limping. I'm tired of whenever I go to the grocery store that I have to ride around in one of those little motorized carts, because like all of them suck. And like as a kid, we were always like, yeah, I want to ride around in the motorized cart. No, those things are terrible. And yeah, so I'm over being injured, and I'm kind of sort of ready to actually go back to my day job. So yeah, yep.
That is quite something. Now I remember a lot of people don't realize it was quite the battle to get them to even do the MRI. It was a whole thing. I think I distinctly remember us having multiple phone calls, me possibly hopping on a train to come down there and yell at some doctors. So, it was quite the adventure.
Yes. So let's go down this storyline. Let's give the full tea. So
let's do it.
So on September the 28th. Yes, so September 28th was the day that I initially injured myself. Again, I thought nothing of it because I'm just like, oh, I've bumped my knee on stuff before. I've had stuff slam into my knee before. I'll be fine. So I worked the rest of that day, not thinking anything of it. Went to work on the 29th. Worked that entire day, and when I was stepping off the forklift, I was just like, oh my god, it felt like my knee just like snapped in half, and I was like, whoa, this doesn't feel right. But I finish out the day, don't think anything of it, go home, ice, elevate, cool. Go into work on the 30th, and that was the day I went into work with my cane. And so like I walked into my place of work with the cane, and one of my coworkers was just like, oh, so is that because the holiday season is coming up, and it's just aesthetic, or is it because you actually need it? And I was like, well, it's a little of both. And then my boss comes back and he saw me limping with the cane, and he's just like, are you okay? I'm just like, well, I got injured on a couple of days ago, and it's hurting really bad. And he's like, well, if it happened at work, we have workman's comp for a reason. Go get checked out. So cool. I leave work. I go to the doctor's office, and the first doctor that I got to, instead of, running me through some tests to see what was up, and mind you, at this point, I had already taken some ibuprofen, which of course is going to reduce the swelling, and had been sitting in the waiting room for like an hour. So by the time the doctor sees me, ibuprofen is in full effect, the swelling around my knee has gone down a considerable amount, and all this dude does is like when you're trying to measure something and like you cup your hands around it and then you move it to the other thing to make sure that the measurement's right. He's just like, well, it's just a little bit swollen, but you should be good to go back to work. It's probably just a bone bruise. And I'm just like, okay, what do you recommend? Well, you should be fine. Doesn't ask what the nature of my job is, which involves, unloading 12,000-pound trucks. And that is not an exaggeration. I've had some trucks that have come into my warehouse that are 12,000 pounds total weight. And so I'm just like, well, it really hurts. I can't really put weight on it. And he's just like, well, I'll go on bed rest for a week and I'll see you back in a couple of days. So
if only they had known that this was going to be the beginning of a wonderful adventure.
Oh, if only. So finally, a couple of days go by. I've been on bed rest for like 2 or 3 days. The swelling is getting worse. And then at the same time, my knee, all the way down to the tips of my toes, were just going ice cold. And I'm just like, this ain't normal. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going back to the doctor because I'm just like, something's not right. So I then go to a different doctor with the same branch because I have to, of course, go to the approved list of places that my job allows me to go to and go get seen by that doctor. This doctor actually does an x-ray. X-ray comes back. Oh, there's no fracture. And I'm just like, well, my knee is still swollen up like to the high heaven. It's been a full week since I initially got injured. It still shouldn't be swollen, and my knee down to my toes keeps going cold, and I can't stand up on my tippy toes. So she just like, well, if you're still having issues in a couple of days, you should go see an orthopedic specialist. Then it becomes a nightmare of trying to actually get in to see an orthopedic specialist because that doctor would not give a recommendation. It's like she's like, we can give you a recommendation, but we can't give you a referral. That's what it was. She's like, well, we can't give you a referral because they're an open clinic and all you have to do is walk in. And I'm just like, well, is it going to be covered by workman's comp? Well, it should be, but all you have to do is just go down there. So I go down there and get to the specialist, and they're just like, well, has your workman's comp person been spoken to? I'm just like, nobody from workman's comp has called me. What are you talking about? And at this point, I'm just like, I've never dealt with workman's comp before. All my boss told me was to go to the doctor, get checked out, let them know there's a workman's comp case, and everything's going to be taken care of. So then the receptionist, bless her heart, was just like, well, you can at least fill out the paperwork and, we'll just see. But just know that if we see you and it's not covered by workman's comp, this is going to have to come out of your personal pocket. And I'm thinking, well, this is just great. I can't afford that. And so I'm going around the bush, freaking out, because I'm like, well, I can't afford this, but my knee is getting worse and I don't know what to do. Then like the next day, as I'm about to just say screw it because my knee is in excruciating pain at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go and get this looked at. And the day, as I'm about to get in the car to go, finally, the woman from Workman's Comp calls me. So I give her all the details about what happened, this, that, and the third. And she's like, well, since you do have to be seen by a specialist, I'm going to give you a list of places that that you're approved to be seen by. Cool. So now I have to wait a couple of hours to finally get the list through the email. Get the list through the email, and lo and behold, the place that I was going to go be seen is on that list. But of course, now that I have options to choose from, I'm just like, well, I'm going to find the doctor who best suits me. So I do a research for a couple of days, finally make my decision on, okay, this doctor's a better fit for me than the doctor I was originally going to go see. Let the workman's comp lady know, and then she has to set up an appointment. The appointment gets set up, and it's like freaking 2 to 3 weeks out, because I'm just like, well, I want to get seen as soon as possible, but my older sister's getting married. I have to go out of town to South Carolina. So it's like scheduled the week after I get back from South Carolina. Cool, great, wonderful. Finally get seen by that doctor after getting back from South Carolina, and they're just like, well, you know, we have to do x-rays again, because the x-ray disc that we initially gave you, well, not because, again, this is a different doctor's office now. There's like, well, the disc that they gave you, it has no images on it. So great, now I gotta go through another round of x-rays. Cool, great, wonderful. Get the x-rays done, go back to the room, doctor looks at him. He's just like, well, I don't see any fractures. But, you know, based off of what you're describing, I'm gonna schedule an MRI. I'm thinking, okay, great, wonderful. But when somebody just tell me what the heck is wrong with my knee, because it's swollen, I can't stand up on my tiptoes, have I broken a ligament, like, did I rip a tendon, like, what's going on? Get the MRI done, and then, again, have to wait, like, another week and a half to get the results. Get the results, and, like, looking at the MRI, the doctor's just like, so your bones on x-rays are supposed to show up black. You see this white portion? And he points at the screen, and literally the white is from the edge of my knee bone halfway through my freaking knee bone. And I'm just like, oh my good golly. And he was just like, yeah, well, what bone bruises are one step below a fracture. And I'm just like, well, that's great. I'm just like, well, you know, what am I supposed to do? And he's just like, well, you know, at this point, it's already been almost, you know, it's been over a month. So continue to stay on bed rest, continue to not lift anything over 25 pounds, continue to not run, continue to not go up ladders. But now you can start doing physical therapy type things, which was what I was already doing, which was testing how far I could go up on my toes and, you know, bending it and moving it and all that. So now I'm in the process of waiting to go back and be seen again to make sure that it is fully healed so I can actually get back to work. So, yeah, that is...
Sounds like you're having a good old time.
That's been my last 2 months. It has been a long...
I can only imagine.
It has been a long 2 months.
Yes, I've been a part of most of it.
I know.
It's definitely been an exciting trip. I definitely had... helping Stripes navigate the medical system in my bingo cards for this year of stupidity. Well, I'm glad that at least we've managed to get that somewhat taken care of now. Hopefully, moving forward into a better direction. That's always good, right?
Yeah, hopefully it's not a permanent thing that I have to deal with the rest of my life. Because, like I said, it takes anywhere from 2 to 4 months for it to fully heal. And the
bone bruise should heal. I think you'll be in good shape. I don't think there's anything to worry about.
So
aside from all that,
well, here's the thing though. The only risk that I run now is that if it was too bad, I could have possible bone death. So that's a thing.
That's very rare. I think you'll be okay. I think at your age you're gonna be just fine. But in all seriousness, though, aside from all of that crap, how are you doing?
Besides all that, I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I got to see my older sister get married. Have gotten to spend time with my wife, which I didn't really get to do while I was working. I've been getting a bunch of ideas for YouTube videos, but I've been bad and I haven't actually sat down and recorded them because I'm afraid of what my audience response is gonna be. So, like, I've been being as productive as I can be with a bum knee, with a knee that I'm not supposed to be putting a lot of weight on. So I've been doing the best I can. So I'm okay.
You've been doing a pretty good job. I know. We both become very proficient in hunting monsters.
Yes. We've been playing Monster Hunter and we've been attempting to play Cold War Zombies, But
PlayStation, looking at you, and I hope you hear this eventually, your support system fucking sucks. And I don't care. I'm going to say you guys are horrible Like, I have never, ever dealt with people of this sheer level of incompetence. Like, one guy, my first Agent Joe, just disappeared for like 45 minutes, never came back. Straight up thought Joe, like, got kidnapped from the PlayStation support studios because Joe was saying, 2 minutes, if you don't talk for 2 minutes, the window will close, and 45 minutes later, Joe hadn't said a single word back to me.
Well,
so.
you have the wonderful bonus of being able to play on the new illustrious PS5, which I actually got to see in person the other day because we went to Target to get some Christmas decorations for the house, and at Target they have it in the case. Oh my good lord! That console is like I did not seeing the pictures online. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a big console.
It's big.
Seeing it in person, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a freaking behemoth. This thing is huge.
It is a massively sized console. It is incredibly large and takes up a lot of space, but it's great. I like it. I mean, there's no load times, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, which we've been learning playing Monster Hunter because you'll load in and it's like, okay, I'm ready, and I'm just like, I'm still on loading screens. What are you talking about? You're ready.
I'll be halfway through the mission by the time you load in. Which is just how it works these days. But yeah, so we've been doing that. It's true, I did acquire a PS5. My boyfriend got one very early on during the pre-orders for me.
I'm still working on acquiring one, but at this rate of not working, it's probably going to be like middle of next year when I finally get one. But I'll get one eventually.
There's no rush right now. There's not a whole lot of games on it. But yes, so that's true. The PS5 is here, and it has been interesting, helping a bit. So, that's where we're at. PS5, kind of cool. Xbox Series X is definitely a thing that exists as well. But, and the Series S, I guess there's two of them now, aren't there? So they did a whole thing.
Okay. If we're going to touch on that real quick, I think that Xbox completely dropped the ball this time around because I think PlayStation played it smart. Because what PlayStation did was they made the exact same console, one with a disc, one without a disc. Xbox, on the other hand, which is like, you know what? We're going to make, two completely different consoles, and we're going to have our discless version be super underpowered compared to the one with the disc. And I'm just like, so you're essentially just undermining all the next gen technology that everybody actually wants. And
yeah, they didn't do a great job. Yeah. It was not well executed. But since we're on the topic of gaming, and while we're on the topic of just general, what games are you most looking forward to coming out recently? I know we were both looking forward to playing zombies on Cold War, but as we've already touched on, Joe kind of fucked us there. Eventually, I mean, what are you looking forward to? I know I just got you the PlayStation Plus collection, which you're very excited about.
That has been great. Hence how I've been able to play Monster Hunter. I think I'm definitely really, really looking forward to the new Horizon Zero Dawn, the second Horizon Zero Dawn that's about to come out. I am absolutely stoked for the new Ratchet and Clank because I've been a massive Ratchet and Clank clan.
Oh, you want to try that one again there, bud?
I've been a massive Ratchet and Clank fan ever since I played the original game on the PS2. So I'm really, really excited to see what Ratchet and Clank does with the new technology of the PS5. I'm also really excited, even though it's already out, I'm excited to play the Dark Souls remake. I'm sorry, Demon Souls. The Demon Souls remake and Deathloop. Like, I think those are like my top 5 games that I'm really, really excited about, especially since there hasn't been too much other announcements of, hey, this is what's coming out. But if I could have anything on the PS5, it would be for Rockstar to get Rockstar North back together and for them to make a new Midnight Club. Like, Midnight Club was...
Yes, 100% yes.
Gosh, because...
Great game.
Because think about it. Think about it. They already have the car and driving technology down pat with GTA 5. So I'm just like, okay, take the car customization and the driving mechanics and like the world building of GTA 5 and give us a new Midnight Club, but just make the car customization more extreme and like give us a really, really beautiful city to drive around. Or even go back to Midnight Club 3 days where you had 3 different cities that you could visit, so that, you know, that's the thing that I've noticed about a lot of open world racing games is that when they take place all in one city, like with Midnight Club LA ended up feeling really, really small after a while. And so like, you know, it would have to be a GTA 5 sized map if it's going to be a single open world map because of how big GTA 5 is. I'm just like, give us that scale of a map with the car customization that you had given us in Midnight Club 3 and the same driving mechanics of like a mixture of Midnight Club 3 and GTA 5, because I think Midnight Club LA was trash. Like, I absolutely loathed Midnight Club LA. Midnight Club 3
Yes,
Dub Edition Remix, it was the standout title in the Midnight Club series. So
I would agree.
that is all I want. All I want is a new Midnight Club game.
It can be done. I mean, they can take the concept of what they did with The Crew and create like an open world entire United States, which was a really fun game because you could just drive from one end of the country to the other. And that was enjoyable because of how large the map was. So, but yeah, no, I agree. Midnight Club should make a comeback. Whether or not it will is anybody's guess. But
it won't,
we'll have to wait
because
and see.
Rockstar dismantled Rockstar North. I think it was like 2 or 3 years after Midnight Club LA came out. So
yeah, so you say that, but they have been known to reboot things after letting them die for a while, like Red Dead Redemption, for example.
this is true.
So I would never say never to like a game that gets canceled, right? Like not coming back, especially when it's still retained by somebody. Somebody still retains the rights to Midnight Club. I imagine it's still Rockstar, and they have a track record of bringing games back when the time is right. And I think Midnight Club is a game that would benefit from being on the next gen. There are certain game series that would be able to take advantage of next gen more at the start than others, and Midnight Club is probably at the forefront of that. And while, yes, they might have dismantled the studio that currently had been working on it, Rockstar has been known to reboot games when the time is right to reboot them. As an example, like I said, Red Dead Redemption, that series had like a 5-6 year gap between games, maybe longer. So, and not accounting for the first gap between 1 and 2.
No, and I again, I thoroughly agree. And I really think that if Rockstar did that, it could be very successful, because we haven't had any really, really good arcade racers in years. Like, I know that everybody's like, it's all over Need for Speed, but I'm just like, for me, Need for Speed died for me after Need for Speed Payback. Need for Speed Payback was like the last really, really good arcade racer in the series, because once you got to the Need for Speed where they had the live action cutscenes, and then the one that came after that, you had this really, really weird system where it was like a lottery system on what parts you could get for your car, and it just made playing it just incredibly grindy, where arcade racers, yes, it's supposed to be a little bit of a grind, but it's one of those things where you're supposed to be just be able to turn your mind off, just enjoy the races, and not, like, you can have a story, because, like, don't get me wrong, Midnight Club had a story, but I'm just like, you know, it should be focused on the racing and not the drama, and not these giant, like, random set pieces. It should be focused on the driving and the car customization, and by you, like, doing skills, like honing your driving skills, that should be what's unlocking parts for your car, not some just random lottery system of, oh, look, flip over this card, oh, you didn't get the part that you needed. So like I said, the last really, really good arcade racer, in my opinion, was Need for Speed Payback. Because, like, the crew had potential, but it was always online. And I'm just like, like, some people don't always have an internet connection. So for me, that's where the crew fell flat. And then, like, all the other racing games out there, the one that's coming out on PS5 that is a staple of the PlayStation series.
Gran Turismo?
Yes, thank you. Like Gran Turismo, all those are racing simulators. It's not a arcade racer. And I can play racing sims, but I'm just like, I get bored with racing sims after a while, only because I'm just like, oh yay, I'm driving around the track for the 1,000th time. And I understand the level of customization that you can really, really get into with sim racers, because like you can fine tune and tweak every piece of your car just like you would in real life, and you can like tweak the handling, this, that, and third. But like, unless you have a racing wheel, like unless you have like that racing rig, sim racers lose, like they lose their fun after a while. And I just, like I said, I just want a really, really good arcade racer.
Well, we were going to table the gaming discussion for now because I've got one of your favorite topics here and one of your favorite segments that we do on this show, Stripes, that I went digging just for you.
What is it, real or fake with Mr. Moopy?
No Mr. Moopy this time, although Mr. Moopy will be making his return soon. No, this is...
As I said on the last podcast, I still need to commission somebody to draw up that daggone persona.
I mean, I feel like you stand Mr. Moopy pretty hard.
I'm going to get an artist to draw this freaking persona. Like, it is going to be this obnoxious sparkle dog, and it's either going to be a miniature pincer, or there's another dog breed that looks exactly like the miniature pincer, but it's just a little bit bigger, but I can't remember the breed right now. But it's just going to be this obnoxious sparkle dog, and like I need it in my life, even if I like never ever use him for like anything. I just need him in my repertoire of personas, and like I think that would put me at having like 6 sonas or something like that.
Well, there we go. So, yes, it is in fact real or fake, with a little bit of a twist. This time, Stripes, we went digging and we found some headlines, and we are going to ask you which of these headlines is the real headline.
So it's like our strange news segment combined with real or fake.
Yes, you've got a
good Lord.
You've got a 50% chance of getting it right. So, are you ready? Can you handle this? Are you in the zone? Are you ready?
I'm somewhere.
All right, well, here we go. So, which of the following is the real headline, Stripes? Is it National Geographic is to stop publishing nude animal pictures, or is it missing woman unwittingly joined search party looking for herself?
I feel like the second one is real, because the first one, I'm just like, how many times do you get like naked animals photographed in National Geographic? Like it's very rare that happens, and like I used, like as a photographer, I used to want to be a National Geographic photographer. And so of course they have all their editors who are going to go through and make sure that your photos are up to snuff. So the second one is the real headline.
Final answer?
Final answer.
So you're going with missing woman unwittingly joined search party looking for herself.
Final answer.
That's the real headline. All right, let's see. That is correct. That is an actual headline, and it is from the missing woman unwittingly joined search party looking for herself. A group of tourists spent hours looking for a missing woman, only to find her among the search party. She hadn't recognized the description of herself and joined the search for herself.
Okay, here's my question. How did the police not ask for a photo of this woman? Like, I can understand, okay, yeah, description is great, but like, we live in the technological age. We live in the age of cell phones. The first question, and like, and mind you, we've had this discussion on the podcast before. I'm a huge fan of true crime. Like, I watch CSI and Criminal Minds and all of those shows, like I wouldn't say religiously, but like that is my comfort zone. And when you watch those shows, the first thing that is always asked is, do you have a picture of so-and-so? So like, how did nobody ask if somebody had a picture of this woman, and then they could have just turned around and been like, oh, look, she's right there. Like,
yeah, somebody really dropped the ball on that one. So, all right, you're 1 for 1. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2. Are you ready?
I will try.
All right. So, which of the following headlines is the real headline? Insert Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music here. All right. Is it Kim Jong-un bans One Direction from entering North Korea unless they get their hair cut like him? Or is it monkey believed to be a French spy is hung? Which of those was a real headline?
The furry in me wants to go with the monkey answer, but the realist in me feels like the Kim Jong-un statement is something that is actually plausible, because of how strict North Korea is. So I will go with North Korea as my final answer.
We're going with North Korea.
That's my final answer, yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
All right, so we're going with the North Korea headline. Let's see. That is actually wrong. The real headline was that the monkey believed to be a French spy is in fact hung. So during the Napoleonic Wars of the early 19th century, a shipwrecked monkey was hanged by the police of Hartlepool who believed him to be a French spy. The story has become a legend over the years. So that is true.
I don't know how to feel about that.
If it makes you feel any better, 36% of people got this wrong.
Well, you know, that makes you feel slightly better, but by a minuscule margin.
All right, are you ready for your next one? You're 1 for 1. We got 7 for you, so let's see if we can go 500 here.
All right.
Goals to go 500. All right. So, Stripes, which of the following is the real headline? Is it female named hurricanes kill more than male hurricanes because people don't respect them, study finds? Or is it London's iconic Big Ben clock to go digital?
I want to say it's the Big Ben headline was the real headline, because I feel like I saw that come across my Twitter feed, and there was a lot of people in outrage about, you know, such an iconic piece of history and such an iconic landmark going digital. So I'm gonna go with the Big Ben one as my final answer.
We're going with Big Ben digital, real headline. Big Ben, real headline.
Big Ben. He says with some trepidation in his voice.
All right, let's see. That is actually wrong. As unfortunate as this is, the correct answer was the real headline is female named hurricanes kill more than male hurricanes because people don't respect them, study fine.
Why does that not surprise me in the slightest, though? I want to be like all shocked and in awe that, oh my gosh, this is whatever, but I'm not surprised.
A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that people don't take hurricanes as seriously if they have a feminine name, and the consequences are deadly. The study examined 6 decades of hurricane death rates according to a gender, spanning 1950 and 2012, and found that female-named storms have killed more people because people neither consider them as risky nor take the same precautions.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I was one of those people who grew up during Hurricane Isabel and Hurricane Katrina. Like, I lived through Hurricane Isabel. Like, that hit Hampton Roads, where I live. We got smacked so hard by that hurricane. So after, Hurricane Isabel, and then especially a few years later, Hurricane Katrina, for people to not have quote unquote respect for female named hurricanes, my brain can't wrap around that because of how devastating the female named hurricanes have been. Like, I can't, off the top of my head, I cannot think of one devastating male hurricane. Like,
Andrew.
Okay, I can think of one. That's what I was about to say. That's the only one I can think of is Andrew. But all the other ones, like, whenever anybody asks you, hey, such and such a hurricane, like, the first thing that comes to mind is Katrina or Isabel. So
yeah, I agree with you. I tend to be in the same book as you.
Flawed logic is flawed.
So, are you ready for your next one?
I'm not doing great so far.
You're 1 and 2,
okay.
but you're still time to save it and turn it around. So, Stripes for $50. Which is the real headline?
Are you gonna actually give me money?
No, I am not.
Oh.
But I will give you $50 in Monopoly cash.
Oh, that's not gonna buy me anything on the map.
It'll buy you my love.
Oh.
All right.
The audience said.
Yes, you're welcome. That's right. Your audience loves me. All right. Which of the following, Stripes, is the real headline? Is it politically correct college students are campaigning to rename Imperial College and King's College London? Or is it this transparent wood could be used to build windows? You got a 50-50 shot here.
Because, and I'm going with the politically correct one, only because of the world that we live in now, where everything has to be politically correct. I feel like that's the real headline, because we have moved into an age where everything has to be politically correct. And do I agree with it all the time? No. Especially when you try to rewrite history and you try to rewrite what was okay a few years ago and try to put modern logic on something that happened 10, 15 years ago. So I'm going with that one, but I really, really hope that it's the
transparent wood.
The wood. Yes, I really hope it's the transparent wood. All right, let's see
if you're right. You are wrong. It is the transparent wood.
Oh, thank God. For once, I'm okay being wrong.
So, the correct headline was, this transparent wood could be used to be windows. Really, Wired reported last year that, according to Swedish researchers, windows could be made from transparent, renewable wood.
I'm here for that. I'm okay with that. That is good for the environment. I'm glad. Because if the other headline had been the real headline, I was gonna have to get on my soapbox for a second, and nobody wants me to get on that soapbox.
Yes, I agree. Let's get off the soapbox. All right, so you got to get the next two to go 500 here. Next three if you want to win. So right. I'm just looking at these next two choices, and I think you have a 0% chance of.
Well, your confidence in me is so inspiring.
Well, I'm looking at these two, and I you'll hear for yourself. So, Stripes, which of the following is the real headline? Is it Arsenal and Spurs agree to share a stunning new Emirates ground? Or is it Chinese zoo under fire for disguising hairy dog as lion?
I really, really hope.
I told you. Now you see why I said I have zero confidence.
No. I really, 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 really hope it is the the Chinese one, only because I'm a lion and I need that to be the real headline. So that is my final answer. You said lion. All
right, we're going with the lion. I think you might be right here. You are correct.
I am obligated.
That is the correct answer, yes. I knew already, because I'm a sports fan, that the first one wasn't true. But yes, so the stranger than fiction correct answer was indeed Chinese zoo under fire for disguising hairy dog as a lion. A Chinese zoo's supposed African lion was exposed as a fraud when it started barking. The beast was in fact a Tibetan Mastiff, a large long-haired breed of dog that bears zero relation to a lion.
Well, see, I'm glad that I did my fellow feline brethren in the fandom proud by, spotting out the fake, phony, bark lion.
All right.
Which is what you are. That's what you are. You're the fake lion.
I mean, I never claimed to be a lion. All right, you're 2 and 3, Stripes. Got to get the next two. Got to get at least one of the next two. If you want to do well, got to get this one to go to 500. Both of you want to win the game. So here we go. Which of the following, Stripes, is the real headline? Is it... Oh, good lord. All right, is it Tiny Tempo wants to quit music and become a farmer? Or is it Britain's Got Talent to install a trap door to let contestants down less than gently?
I'm gonna say it's the first one because I see there is no ethical or safe way that you can install an unsuspecting trapdoor. That's just not ethical.
Final answer?
Yes, final answer is the chick I've never heard of.
Going with that, are we sure?
Sure.
You're right. You got it.
Okay.
So he revealed last year to Jonathan Ross that he wants to quit music industry and try life as a farmer. 3 more years are
I feel terrible now because I thought it was a female singer.
Nope. 3 more years of a lot of fun and then probably settle down, have a family, live on a farm, get some animals, he mused, as he discussed his hopes for the future. So, Stripes, you are 3 and 3 coming into the last question, so no pressure. But this could be one of the very rare occasions where you actually come out as winning this exact game. So, no pressure, but are you ready?
Nope.
So, we're going to mix it up on you here. So, which of the following 3 documentaries, of the 3 documentaries, is the real one? So, 2 of them are fake, 1 of them is real. This is the bonus question for the tiebreaker. So, again, which of the following 3 documentaries, of the following 3, which one of them is real? Is the real one My Filthy Boyfriend? Is the real one Young, Dumb, and Possessed? Or is the real one My Unusual Vagina? And I'll even give you a hint here. The real one aired on the BBC.
Ooh. Okay.
You want to hear them again?
Okay.
Would you like them one more time?
I'm thinking.
All right, so just while you think, for our audience, we've asked Stripes, which of the following documentaries that aired on the BBC is real? Is it My Filthy Boyfriend? Is it Young, Dumb, and Possessed? Or is it My Unusual Vagina? For Stripes to potentially win, real or fake, for maybe the second time in the history of this show.
So I am being led to initially eliminate the second answer. The young possessed one.
Young, Dumb, and Possessed?
I'm inclined to nix that one out of the running and have it go between the
My Filthy Boyfriend and My Unusual Vagina.
Yeah. Because I could see the BBC airing either one of those, becomes we have shows like Sex Sent Me to the ER and and there have been other documentaries about really, really kinky, weird stuff. So I feel like the Possessed one is reaching a bit for a documentary, especially to air on the BBC. So
I'll give you this. It is not Young, Dumb, and Possessed.
Okay.
So we're down to 2.
I already eliminated.
Okay. So I got you to 2. You did correctly eliminate 1. So is it My Filthy Boyfriend, or is it My Unusual Vagina?
I'm leaning towards the My Unusual Vagina one, only because like the My Freaky Boyfriend thing seems more like an American TV program or an American documentary than a British documentary. Because like we as Americans, we're more open to talking about like sex and like freaky sex, but we're not really open to talking about the actual anatomy. Like we're not really open to talking about, oh, like this is a vagina, this is a penis. Like we're not, like that's not us as Americans. But like the British, they're just like, you know what, this is the organ, it is a part of the sexual reproductive process, and you know what, it is what it is. Like the British and the European people don't make the sexual organ taboo the same way that Americans do. So based off of that logic, I'm gonna go with the vagina one.
Final answer?
Final answer.
To try and win, real or fake. Are you sure?
Yeah, final answer.
You're going with it?
I'm
Locking
going with
in?
the vagina. I'm married to a woman, therefore I'm going with the vagina.
All right, it's locked in. So before I tell you if you're right or not, Stripes, how many times have you won real or fake on this show? Do you know?
Once, maybe? I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to the archives. But I've either won not at all, or I've only won once.
And we locked in vagina. How you feeling right now? You feeling good about that choice?
Who wouldn't feel good about being locked into a vagina?
I mean, I feel like that is a question that we definitely can't cover on YouTube. So, Stripes, you are, in fact, correct. It is my unusual vagina.
My logic actually paid off for once. Me being analytical actually paid off for once.
So, yes, you correctly managed to get the last, 3 in a row? So, yes, for the first time, or maybe even the second time.
I think that's a new record.
Yeah, that's definitely the highest we've ever done. But, yeah, congratulations, bud. How does it feel to have finally won, real or fake?
It feels pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels
You're
pretty
going to
good.
celebrate tonight with some drinking? Maybe lift 30 pounds?
But no, then I might end up on, my 100-pound life, because I have a fast metabolism and can't seem to get up over 135 pounds. Like that is what I max out at.
I mean, yeah. So those were some interesting headlines there, and can never go wrong with that, because of course, as you know, Stripes, we try to keep it interesting here, but as we enter into the hour mark, and we'll see how much longer we go, because we're still getting back into the swing of things, but in general, Stripes, aside from the pandemic, is there anything you're looking forward to next year, like that you have scheduled or that you're really excited about?
So I honestly have nothing scheduled for next year, really. Like I really, and I've said this a lot before on my YouTube channel, I really want to be able to buckle down and really start focusing on my art, like whether it is photography or videography, or even the DJing. I really want to start focusing on that more and really start making moves in those areas, because like I've been doing production for almost 14 years or just over 14 years. Either which way, I've been doing it for, a long time. But I feel like I haven't really made any substantial strides for having done production for so long. So I like, hopefully once the world gets back to quote unquote normal, I really want to start buckling down and doing more photo shoots and doing more creative videos here on YouTube. And I know that you and I have even bounced the idea around of like doing some type of documentary. So, I really, really want to focus on my art next year, and figure out a way to balance that with my normal day job until I can make production my full-time career, which is what I actually want to do. I want to do production full-time, whether that's editing my stuff, editing other people's stuff, etc. So And of course, if, and that's a big if, cons can come back next year, I'm definitely looking forward to the furry conventions next year, and just being able to learn how to socialize again, because I especially these last 2 months, my being a hermit has personified, like, to a really, really bad degree. But I noticed when I was going to conventions and I was out and actually in the quote unquote public eye, it was easier for me to socialize, and it was easier for me, and this is going to sound really weird, it was easier for me to make YouTube videos when I was out in the public eye. But now just sitting at home, I have become extremely, extremely critical of myself and extremely, extremely critical of my ideas. And it has actually, ironically, hindered my creative process, because I'm overthinking my ideas and I have nobody to bounce ideas off of and be like, hey, do you think this would make a cool idea for a video? And since I'm my own sounding board, I keep talking myself out of producing the videos that I want to produce. So yeah, more than anything, I'm looking forward to getting out of the judgmental headspace and actually get into creating content that I want to create. So what about you? What are you looking forward to in 2021?
Going back to work. I mean, as disappointing as that sounds, I am looking forward to being able to DJ again and actually, make any sort of income, because as many people know, pandemics and global gatherings and clubs do not go hand in hand. So I am looking forward to the very first DJ set that I have back in a club being arguably an orgasmic experience for everybody. And I'm just looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to going back to conventions. Maybe, I don't know. I gotta see. I haven't been too happy with the Furry Fandom recently. It's been a lot of bullshit, a lot of people who have large followings who absolutely should not, and just a lot of stupidity across the board recently, which has made me really question what we're doing here. Needless to say, the entire paws are porn thing, it's been a really rough year to be a furry in the fandom. It just has. I mean, there's no way around that.
Okay, so two things I'm going to touch on before I let you get back on your soapbox. Yes. One, you have a really, even though it can be very tedious, you have one of those really fun jobs. As a DJ, and because I'm not a full-time working DJ, because I'm not full-time doing production, I feel unfulfilled. So I think you're really, really lucky to be able to work in your chosen field and do so successfully. So I'm going to throw that out there. And I do agree that the first time back is going to be orgasmic for everybody. But the second thing is the whole furry fandom thing, because here's what I have found is that you have to, as much as possible, ignore the crap. You have to take note that, okay, this is going on over here, but I'm not sticking my nose in it. And yes, there are definitely people who have a following who shouldn't have a following, but that is any fandom that you get into. I is not exclusive to the furry fandom.
But I also choose not to tend to be a part of those if I can avoid it. But yeah, no, I agree. I think this year especially has put a light on a lot of issues that we need to tackle as a community, and the pure level of some of the stupidity levels that we've reached in this year have not been great. But neither here nor there. But yeah.
But I think that's the same thing for any fandom.
Yes.
I think that the levels of stupidity that we've seen this year in any fandom, any subculture, whether it is the alternative subculture, which I'm a part of, you know, like dressing goth and punk and cyber and all that. Like, you've seen incredible levels of stupidity there. You know, looking at you, Dolls Kill. You know, you've seen incredible levels of stupidity within the furry fandom. Like, I'm not super deep in the pup community.
We've had our own bullshit too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you've seen levels of stupidity with every fandom and every like little niche group of people this year. Like, just the epitome of stupid has come forefront. But I think that is because this year we have been in these unprecedented times of quarantine, and everybody, you know, at least the beginning of when this virus hit, was just sitting at their house. Unless they were an essential worker, they're just sitting at their house, and all they can do all day long is just sit in front of their computer and find ways to entertain themselves. And instead of, you know, going on YouTube or like going on Netflix or Hulu, they are seeing the drama play out before them, and then they're putting their nose in stuff that they have no business putting their nose in, because and even when we weren't in these unprecedented times, this is what people did. I'm not going to say it's the same people, but they would make an accusation or they would jump on a bandwagon without doing their proper research first. And that is why I'm of the mindset where, unless somebody presents all of the evidence, I'm going to take a neutral standpoint, because there are two, as the old adage goes, there are three sides to every story. Person A's side, person B's side, and the truth. So until I see all the evidence laid out, I try as hard as I can to reserve judgment. Of course, there's always going to be that knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like if people would stop instantly posting their knee-jerk reaction and wait just a little bit to comment on something, that you would see a lot of this drama not get as big as it was, because, you know, people have had time to stop and digest, okay, this is the situation, this is person A's side, and then this is person B's side, and then they can do their research and figure out what the truth is in between both sides of the story. And that goes out to the furry fandom, that goes out to the alternative communities, that goes out to the pup communities, that goes out to the pet play community, DGLG, like whatever like community you're a part of, like it's like stop with the knee-jerk reactions. Like, that's all I can say. Just like, don't.
So like, while we're on the topic here, just a reminder, we are bringing back this podcast on a regular basis. We're going to try for once a week, but don't hold us to that. Don't ask me what day it's going to be, because we're still going to play with that. But I think we are going to attempt to get into a regular flow, so to speak, of putting these out regularly. Some of them will be live. All of them will be posted afterwards, regardless of whether they were done live or not. And yeah, I mean, just want to throw that out there. As far as other things I'm looking forward to, I do believe that Stripes, you and I are going to make a documentary this year. I think that this following year in 2021, I think we're going to work on that. I do think we're going to make a documentary that chronicles my life for a year, which will be interesting, both scary and horrifying and interesting all at the same time. And a couple other things that we may do, and I think that'll be exciting. And we'll, of course, keep you updated on that as we go. But for the most part, I'm mostly just looking forward to not being in a fucking pandemic. I'm looking forward to not having to turn on the news and see, well, such and such idiot decided not to wear his mask at a motorcycle rally, and now a bajillion people are infected and dead. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Like, because, you know, I have never, I can't say never. I've only gone out shopping on Black Friday once, and that was to go to the vape shop, and because like I was out of liquid, and it just so happened that it was Black Friday, and so I went and I took advantage of the Black Friday deals. But like I have never actually gone out shopping on a Black Friday, and this year, some people that I know did go out to the malls on Black Friday, and they were saying that the malls were packed. And I'm just like, did everybody forget that there's a pandemic going on? Did everybody forget that this is not a normal year? Do your shopping online, god dang it.
People be stupid. Real quick, want to throw out a couple other things before we wrap up and head out of here. Just as a reminder, Stripes has a producer credit on the other podcast that I do with my friend Alexi, which is Politics for Dummies, which will also be releasing an episode here this week covering everything. I know we only put out the one episode, but it's taken us a bit of time to just wrap our head around things with school and everything, so stick around, check that out. And of course, we want to thank our lovely sponsor for today's episode, Stripes' Ball Wine. You know, when it's time to wine and dine, grab yourself a good old bottle of Stripes' Ball Wine, bottled fresh from the source, packaged fresh daily. Stripes' Ball Wine. Nothing says let's have a good time like Stripes' Ball Wine. So big old thanks to them. Would not be able to have our show without special sponsors just like that. You okay? You breathing? You gonna be okay? And we are back. So yes, as we were saying, we just want to thank everybody for their continued support. Coming up on next week's episode, we'll be talking about the changes of the streaming world and how it's going to interact with DJing and other things, and whether or not when the world goes back to normal, if we will see an increase in streaming or if we'll see it just kind of go back to the way it was. We'll talk about streaming fatigue. We'll talk about, generally it's going to be a streaming episode about music and artists. We'll talk about what life has been like as artists. And of course, we'll talk about holidays and our gift giving guide and a couple special surprises that we have for Stripes that will be special for everyone. So closing thoughts, Stripes, go ahead.
It was really fun to actually sit down and do this podcast again. Even though it was a really, really loose format. Because usually, everybody who has listened to the podcast knows that it's usually very structured, and we go from, one segment to the other. And today we kind of just like rolled and did what came to mind. And
I thought it went well.
No, it definitely did go well. But no, I do want to again continue to thank everybody for the support here on YouTube, for the support that you showed us at the beginning of when this virus hit over on Twitch and SoundCloud, and for just believing in us and believing in what we are doing. And I do want to quickly draw attention to somebody else who is starting up a podcast that I think is going to be really, really interesting. And I got to go through and see if I can find the tweet real quick, because I definitely encourage people to go check this out, because we are all for boosting up other creators. As creatives in the industry, we have to boost other people up. So I just want you guys to make sure that you go check out their, and I'll put it up on the screen since this is going up on YouTube, but the @ on Twitter is HypeBeastDan, and the Dan is spelled D4N, but they are actually starting up a podcast on their YouTube channel. And the premise of it is going to be interviewing furries about music and music, TV, and movies, as well as just what it's like to be a furry in the fandom. And that is something that I have not seen another creator do, whether in podcast form or video form. So I am really, really excited to see what this person does with their podcast. And that's actually a really good segue into what I'm been, because like all podcasts long, I've been talking about the content that I want to create that I'm scared to create. And that is like movie and TV analysis and breakdowns because, like I said, I've been in production for 14 years. So, like, my knowledge of film and, like, my film collection, and Ultra can attest to this. He has seen our DVD collection. It is vast. And, like, I want to break down some of...
It's obnoxiously large.
So what I want to start doing is going through and breaking down some of my favorite films and explaining from a technical standpoint what makes them really good films in my eyes, because it's something that I haven't seen any other furries do in fursuit. Because, like, when you look at furry YouTube, everybody's doing the same thing, and I want to do something different. So
do it. Shut up and do it.
I am.
Like, so you guys see what I have to deal with here? It's like literally dragging a horse to water and not just making it drink, but dunking its whole head in the frickin' water and being like, you will drink this or you will drown. Like, that's what we're dealing with here.
So anyway, in closing, you can look forward to movie and TV analysis and breakdowns in fursuit because... you know, it's going to stand out, it's going to be different, and hopefully you guys will like it. You know, hopefully it will be something that sets me apart from the other furry content creators here on YouTube. So
as we go ahead and close, we will remind everybody, we'll announce it here first, Lobo is doing a New Year's Eve live stream. So Stripes doesn't know it yet, but he's probably on the lineup. So he's finding out for the first time like you guys are. It'll be very low-key. It'll probably be Phoenix, myself, and if Stripes wants to join Stripes. And,
of course.
And we will be doing Lobo New Year's Eve, which will kick off our return to streaming on monthly basis? Whatever. You get what I'm saying. Anyway, starting in January and after New Year's Eve, we'll be doing 1 or 2 Lobo streams a month, usually with different experimental things. We'll see how it goes as we get ready to go into the new year. And of course, yes, yet again, people have been asking, so DWF, reluctantly, we had a real good run. We almost made it. We almost made it.
Don't say it. Don't
we
say
almost
it.
made
Don't
it.
say it.
We were doing real good, but
It's
the
dead.
audience outpouring has been astronomical. And now with the PS5, I am reluctantly going to announce that starting in January, DWF will in fact be returning in a new and
for a single episode special
in a new and updated format that will not be every week, but will continue to have the same DWF that you know and love. But yes, you guys have been asking, and so we will bring it back just because we love you guys, even though it drives us nuts. You will be hearing all the tomatoes and potatoes and avocados you could ever want. And that's all starting in January. And of course, for the month of December, look forward to at least 2 or 3 more podcasts from us, probably on various topics, dropping at different times. And yeah.
Oh, and one more thing, like, because I keep thinking of stuff as we're talking, because like I said, we've been gone for so long. We haven't done the podcast in a while. If you want to see Ultra and I in a little bit more of a serious setting, we were actually special guests for Furpocalypse. And over on Furpocalypse's YouTube channel, you can check out the video of me, Ultras, and Elevative's panel on how to be a creative. Because we focused on DJing, photography, and videography. So if you want to see us in a more quote unquote serious setting, and you are interested in getting into, you know, our world, that is a really, really good panel that you can check out over on Furpocalypse's YouTube channel.
All right. So with that, we want to thank everybody once again for joining us. And again, for myself and Stripes, this has been The Lion, the Dog, and the Podcast, the reboot. And we will see you guys soon. I'm not going to say next week because I don't know if it's going to be next week. We're going to try for next week, but we're just going to say soon. So have a good rest of your day, everybody, or night, or wherever you're listening this to, and we will see you next time.
We will see you when you see you.